You drive through any housing subdivision, and there's lots of them all over the country, you see all sorts of piles of sands. So I just thought we'd have a brief conversation about the basic sands that you might think about in your general construction in a home. The first ones and most obvious ones are bricklaying sand. There's yellow bricky sand and white bricky sand are the two common ones. Which one you pick really depends on the aesthetics of the house and the colours of the bricks or the pavers or whatever you're working with. Now, these are commonly known as fatty sands. So what that means is you can get the sand and you can squeeze it and there's enough of a clay content in there that it holds together like that. That's part of the binding that is required when you add the cement to it to make a mortar or something for laying bricks. So you can see this white bricky sand, so that was yellow bricky sand, this is white bricky sand. This is also fatty, probably not quite as fatty, so there is some variability, and different pits that you buy this material out of will vary, so some are a bit fattier than others. But the basics are, you've got different coloured sands, both fatty sands, bricklaying sands, yellow bricky sand and white bricky sand, obviously for laying bricks. The two other common things that you're going to worry about are tiling and sand pits. This is tiling and sandpit sand. Now, it's a much finer sand, and although you can sort of see you can compress it like that, it crumbles. So it has really no clay content, very fine, which is what you want for rendering, and it's also what you'd commonly see in a kid's sandpit. Quite different, no fat, so you don't lay bricks with that, but you would render a wall with it or you'd put it in a sandpit. The other common one is river sand. Now, depending where you go and where you buy it from, the river sands can vary a little bit, but they are all similar in their physical properties, which is that they are gritty. Don't know if you can hear that, but that's a gritty sand. So that's probably around about maybe a 2mm minus sand. So you get bits up to 2mm, which is I guess a match head or half a match head down to almost nothing. Again, no clay, so you can't make a ball out of this sand, so there's no fat and no clay in it. Commonly used as a drainage sand. You might use it to open up potting mixes. There would be people who will lay pavers on a thin bed of that on top of their compacted base, so it can be used for something like that. But basically it's a good drainage sand, a good open sand. So, and you can hear that grit. All quite different. Some people will use river sand as part of a concrete mix. Some people might use a bit of bricky sand, but commonly something like river sand will be used in concrete mix. So again, quite different to these other sands. So again, just in summary, bricklaying sands, fatty sands with a bit of clay content for laying bricks, obviously, making mortar out of. Tiling and sandpit sand, which is kids' playgrounds and obviously wall tiling, and river sand, more of a drainage sand.